our approach of highlighting around the world the concerns that people have with the arbitrary detention of 2 Canadians by China is working.
Because of this pandemic, more and more Canadians are beginning to reassess their country's relationship with China and the authoritarian communist leadership in Beijing. They're asking a lot more questions about the lies, the manipulation, the handling of all of this. They're asking just how does this country roll and operate? And is it good for Canada to be doing more and more business, more and more relationships, getting ever close with this country? Hold on a second. Let's pause. But as they ask these questions, and they are questions that we must all ask, and we must all push the government to ask themselves as well, because we all know the Liberals are uncomfortable in that conversation, perhaps one of the most important conversations Canada should be having right now. As we have that conversation, let's not forget that this is actually nothing new. All this lies, this disinformation, all of this stuff that China's doing right now, well, as the saying goes, it's not a bug, it's a feature. This is how they roll. It's embedded in their system. And a main point of example, something that we should not forget and should actually make sure to share and remind ourselves and talk about more and more. Wednesday, the 500-day anniversary of the arbitrary detention of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, those 2 Canadians who are being held arbitrarily by China in what is clear retaliation for the legal detention of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou right here in Canada. What is going on in this case? Well, not much. They just continue to sit there in jail, languishing, waiting for the next move. Very limited consular access, practically zero legal access, zero communication with their families. One of them even had his glasses taken away. Sometimes the lights are on all the time. These are not people who are being held in a high standard, any standard that actually meets the way we operate in the Western world. This is how China conducts themselves, and throughout this entire pandemic, they have not eased up on that. It's not like they released Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor here in Canada. We talk about how, is it right that federal inmates are crowded in close quarters where they may be spreading the coronavirus? Some activists even calling to release pretty much all inmates who are in there not for violent crimes, non-violent offenders. Well, we have 2 very non-violent offenders. Well, they're not even offenders at all. They're just political hostages in China. They are still there. Keep the pressure on the Chinese ambassador, on the Chinese government. Ambassador Kong Pei-Wu had the nerve to write in Ottawa Life magazine the other day that Canadians, well, they shouldn't engage in xenophobia and racism and intolerance during this pandemic. Are you kidding me? That's offensive. There's none of that. Any criticism China's getting right now, they deserve it. So do not forget the 2 Michaels. 500 days they have been languishing there. And Canadians have to say enough is enough and make their voices heard.